How in God's name can that human being be from this planet? Do you have no heart? Do you have no soul, you son of a bitch? Do you realize what you've done? Tell us how you really feel, Jim Ross. I'm John Renton with the Retro View of WWE SummerSlam 2002, the greatest SummerSlam of all time. Fight me. The greatest SummerSlam. Seriously, this has comparisons to WrestleMania 17 as far as show quality, pacing, the electric crowd. The Nassau Coliseum was absolutely on fire, which meant that they had to renovate the goddamn thing and couldn't even run shows there for a while. I kid, of course, but a molten hot crowd, nearly 15,000 fans or thereabouts. They were just absolutely electric for this whole fucking thing. Even the matches that could have honestly been on Raw or SmackDown felt bigger because of this crowd. And it also felt like a real brand split at this point. You had Stephanie McMahon running SmackDown, Eric Bischoff running Raw, Cole and Taz, back when Michael Cole actually sounded like a normal human, talking, hello, I am normal human. And it's like, I am real man. You want to go skateboard? Anyway, nevertheless, they call the SmackDown action, JR and King calling the Raw action, and a stacked goddamn card. The Heat match, by the way, was Spike Dudley versus Steven Richards. So, okay, they didn't necessarily start out great, but nevertheless. The fight theme that they had, that weird theme song for this, was certainly a choice. It wasn't bad, but it was very generic. Very early 2000s. And the thing about, 2002, yes, in a couple months we would have the unfortunate Katie Vick angle. I'm not saying everything in 2002 is perfect, but looking back at the pay-per-views and even some of the TVs, the in-ring action was fucking tremendous. Once we got the brand split going, it was really good. Yes, the early part of 2002 was a little dodgy with some good stuff. 2002 is actually a pretty damn, solid year in WWE. And also, it's the year that NWA TNA started. And it's still going. NWA TNA outlasted Vince McMahon running WWE. Well, okay, didn't outlast, but they're still going despite the fact Vince McMahon is no longer running WWE. Also, just a little quick plug right here. I will be starting a short series or possibly long-running series on the rise and fall of Vince McMahon, going from humble beginnings all the way to whatever. But let's crack on with this. So, commentary team's introduced, and this fucking I can't put over this crowd enough. I mean, of course, you had three girls there, and I think Blondie didn't really have a goddamn clue what was going on. She's just cheering for everything. Yay, shiny object. Ooh, it's like Brian's girlfriend in Family Guy. So, Kurt Angel, as it were. Man, that's one of the few good things that Jericho did in his career, was calling him Kirk Angel. Taking out Rey Mysterio. Rey had just made his debut shortly after Vengeance 2002, which I also retro-reviewed. You can check that out. One of the best openers in SummerSlam history. I'm not talking the pre-show matches, even though those haven't been all that bad. But as far as the main card, I'm trying to think, but this probably is the best opener or number two. Because it really was good. Power versus Speed. Angle kept focusing on the ankle. That's hard to say. Angle sucks chance. I did like the you suck, man. It just never gets old. Ray kept fighting from underneath. Hit one dive. Holy shit. And now we see multiple dives on all these goddamn shows. And I know this is just under 20 years ago as of right now, because this year's SummerSlam is taking place in just a few days as of this recording. But one dive. One. Holy shit chance. Maybe if they limited the amount of dives that they did, they get a holy shit chant more often. Instead of just holy shit for the move, it's like, oh, damn, look at that. And West Coast Pop for two. We get, a Rana into the ankle lock because Kurt, slid off. Got the ankle lock on. Tap out. And there you go. Stephanie McMahon wants to go into her office, but Eric Bischoff is there. And since apparently the Nassau Coliseum doesn't have many rooms for people to be in, they have to share an office. Okay. And Jericho takes on Ric Flair. Just a few months after Ric Flair basically harassed, at the very least, that flight attendant, if the reports in Plane Ride from Hell episode are to be believed. This was Ric Flair, at least still in pretty good shape. I mean, by 2008 it got really dodgy, and he's having his last match here in a little bit. His last match, which should have been against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24. All because there was trash cans used, and Flair interrupted a Fozzy concert. To be fair, if Flair had stopped Fozzy from existing, we would have been better off. Fozzy sucks chants. This wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the greatest, but it was interesting to see how Flair was still trying to find himself because he did have the confidence issues after being beat down, especially mentally in WCW. And remember when Jericho wasn't embarrassing in the ring? God, I know this was 20 years ago and everybody ages, but good Lord. There were submission counters, and then eventually Charles Robinson gets, kind of like, gets hit, like, oh no, inadvertent hit, low blow, figure four, Jericho taps. Oh, wow, that's something. Jericho would end up winning. I think Jericho would end up winning the Intercontinental Championship soon, but nevertheless, he wouldn't have it for that long, though. And then backstage, as Bork and the Heyman are talking, and they cut out the ad for Hulk Hogan's new DVD. I believe it was Hulk Still Rules. I remember having that years ago. And how, well, The Rock wants to retain, but you're going to beat him. You're going to destroy The Rock. You're going to beat down and beat off Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson. You're welcome for that. And then Eddie Guerrero taking on Edge, the first of their trilogy. They had one here, one at Unforgiven, and then one, I think the SmackDown right after Unforgiven. I know they had one on SmackDown that was like a no DQ match that was really, really good. This was good too. It was well wrestled. Eddie, no wrestler's death has hit me harder than Eddie Guerrero's. Heel Eddie was just fucking tremendous. I mean, he was so likable, but even, God damn it, just imagine if he didn't have his demons. Imagine if he didn't. Imagine if he was still going. Could we trade Vicky and bring Eddie back? Ed had his shoulder worked on. He had injured that and been out for a few weeks, I believe, sometime in a couple months before this, just before he came back and teamed up with Hulk Hogan, that is, to win the Tag Team Championships and then lose them to Christian and Lance Storm at Vengeance 2002. Again, cheap plug for my review. Execution, we get a splash to the shoulder, and Eddie kept focusing on that, but eventually got hit with the spear, 1, 2, 3. And there you go. And then an ad for Our Season Never Ends, because at the time I believe baseball was having some kind of strike. I don't remember how short the 2002 baseball season was. And then Coach was with the Un-Americans. Lance deserved better. Not that this wasn't good, but I always wish they had utilized Lance a little bit better. Lance Storm is a tremendous follow on Twitter. Very, very dry Canadian humor, but also provides great analysis because technical wizard. He was really goddamn good in the ring. Probably still could be if he still wrestled, but I think now he just does training and does other shots for like producing. So Storm and Christian took on Booker T and Goldust, WWE Tag Team Championship match. It was the least on the card. This and one other match were probably like the low points on the card, but it was still pretty good because the crowd was into it. They milked the hot tag for Goldust to get to Booker T. He eventually did. But then Test shows up, hits a big boot, and then Christian covers 1, 2, 3. That's it. Moving on. And then WWF New York, or WWE New York, because I got the F out recently. And Nydia was being pimped out to a guy by Jamie Noble. That's really all I got to say about that. Bischoff and Stephanie were talking about who was on top. And it was at this point I lost my appetite. RVD versus Chris Benoit. Yes, the vaunted, future murderer of his wife and child. Fuck Chris Benoit. Fuck the fact that anybody thinks he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Intercontinental Championship match. Clash of Styles. Well worked. Fuck Chris Benoit forever. There were a couple lines here. At any time, Benoit can lock in that crossface. Yes, he can. And he can also wait because he needs assistance. Oh, nope, there goes his neck. Man, you thought the neck surgery was bad. He just said, I can't pay for this medical treatment. Boom. I kid. Chris, get him, Benoit. I understand that Chris Benoit actually heard Nancy, who he killed before, had heard Nancy say that, tuck him in the bed. Get him. Get him, Norman. I told you not to bother the guests. Benoit used these same back and neck moves to basically take care of his family later. I will continue to say those because that's how I deal with tragedy, because Chris Benoit was a sick son of a bitch. Not the head trauma. Maybe he just was always a vicious murderer. Let's remember the fact that he had a previous wife and probably abuse stuff there too. Chris also apparently has a daughter who wants to be out of the limelight. I don't blame her. But anyway, 5-star frog splash. 1, 2, 3. New Intercontinental Champion. Benoit had defected to SmackDown with the championship. And then RVD won it back and went on Raw. And then it would be about just under a year before SmackDown would get a mid-card championship, and the Intercontinental Championship would be retired for about 7 months. When they had Triple H and Kane right after the Katie Vick angle due to unification, and Triple H won because of course he fucking did. So, then we have Test and Taker, Canada versus US. Oh dear, this, they really tried with Test. They tried multiple times with Test. He had the look. He was good in the ring and was probably at about his peak at this point. And then things would slide further down the card when Stacey wanted to play with his testicles and also promote Test testicles. That's also hard to say in front of the fans. But nevertheless, it didn't click. This didn't click at all. One, both these guys are about the same goddamn height. I think Taker's a couple inches taller. Storm and Christian run in. There was no DQ call despite the fact that they ran in. But whatever. Tombstone, 1, 2, 3. I mean, Test did hit the big boot and almost got that, but then got hit with the tombstone. So, Taker had the flag for the crowd for America. And just, don't play your video games backstage, you idiots. This was also months before he caved Canyon's head in. Because Canyon was supposed to be a heel. It's because Canyon was gay. Let's be perfectly honest. That's why he did it. And then we get a package on Triple H and Shawn Michaels. What led to this? What led to Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement just for his back injury? Not for the fact that he had to get clean because he was so pilled up he probably would have knocked out an elephant. But that's totally irrelevant because anything that's not about elephants is irrelevant. Triple H even told Shawn's mom, I am paraphrasing here, but she was worried about him getting back in the ring. It's like, I swear your son will be safe afterwards. He'll be safe during the match and he will be fine. Because Triple H and Shawn, even though they just recently reconnected as friends, look, I don't hold my opinions back on Shawn. I don't buy the religious reborn thing. Despite the fact my Twitter handle is Reborn Again, it's not because of religion. I just like the name. If you use religion for in the proper context to help people out, great. I still don't think Shawn's changed all that much. Whatever. So, Shawn gets a big pop with a bunch of confetti and pyro. Triple H gets thunderous boos. Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. Unsanctioned match. They want nothing to do with this, and they're broadcasting it. You could have argued this probably should have closed the show, but then again, given the ending, it kind of makes sense why they didn't. Triple H was certainly, just working out hard in 2002. Look, there were a lot of people that fucking were on the gas at that point, but my God. Look at him here. And look at him at SummerSlam 2003. Sure, he was dealing with a groin injury, but look at him there. Look at him in the Kevin Nash feud just a couple months before. So anyway, the crowd was way into it. Shawn Michaels got an early flurry. Triple H kept targeting the back, beating him with a chair, beating him with a trash can. Shawn Michaels bled, but then the blood stopped. It did not look like a pap smear, as as Cornette said once about the Great American Bash 1988 when Luger got blood, or got juiced as it were. And then the sledgehammer, why don't you call my name? And the crowd came alive. Earl was fed up. He's like, the sledgehammer, all this, knock it off, just beat him. Backbreaker on the chair, kept beating him down. I watch, Shawn, you've done everything. And then some. Everything under everything under the sun you have done. Shawn fires back, hits that nip up, huge pop, comes back, and then ladder, that same match he used a ladder, then a table splash, an elbow off the ladder, sweet chin music, he goes for it, misses, pedigree, no, roll up, 1, 2, 3, Shawn Michaels wins his comeback match, and then Triple H takes a sledgehammer and hits him in the back, and hits him in the back of the head and says, ha 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 ha. Guaranteeing this feud would continue for 18 fucking years. I think it was only about 2, but still, it felt that long. Then, of course, how can that human being be from this planet? Do you have no heart? Do you have no soul, you son of a bitch? Do you realize what you've done? Tell us how you really feel, JR. And the stretcher job. And then they send a segment out to cool down, or people out to cool down the crowd for this segment while they, make sure that everybody's like not way too up because they really had to ease the crowd back because they still had a main event. This was probably the best 1-2 punch to close a show. Howard Finkel comes out. I don't know why they made him a heel, but Trish had humiliated him recently, so he mentions about Long Island skanks, and then Trish pretends to flirt with him, and then Lillian comes out and slaps him and hits a low blow. Why did they hate Howard Finkel? Rest in peace, Howard Finkel. And then Brock and Rock package where Rock's working out with his agility. Bork's just working out by doing the ice bath, nude, and all this other stuff. Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman against The Rock. Undisputed Championship match. Fans knew The Rock was going to leave. And Rock respected the Undisputed title so much that he laid it down in the entrance and ran. Bye, I'm leaving. No, he actually ran to the ring. Hot start. Brock fired up with suplexes, strikes. Got a bear hug. We're getting Let's Go Lesnar chance. We're getting Rocky Sucks chance. We were getting Goldberg chance, but then once there was that bear hug spot, Let's Go Lesnar. And it turns out that they were actually originally 9 Inch Nails fans. They were chanting Let's Go Lesnar. Nobody that knows who 9 Inch Nails are, they have no fucking idea who that is. Nevertheless, suplexes and throws, some nice offense. Heyman kept interfering, and eventually, after Rock gained the advantage, knocking Brock out, he hit a rock bottom on Heyman through the announcer's table, one of the last bumps that Heyman ever took. And then we get some more back and forth. Rock bottom by Rock. 1, 2. He's questioning himself. What the hell? Brock bottom, as Taz called it. 1, 2. And then it looks like Rock's going to hit the people's elbow. No, he doesn't. He goes for the rock bottom again. Nope. Twist and into the F5. Boom. 1, 2, 3. New Undisputed Champion. And Brock would then go to SmackDown, and then we would have the world title brought back. That never had been taken away in the first place. And then Brock would be the WWE Champion for all of 3 months. And then he would have a rib injury. And then they would build back up to him versus Angle, where Angle had a bad neck, and Brock said, I can join you. SummerSlam 2002, though, fucking tremendous. Great goddamn card. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.